Brodes Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Brodes. Not a lot of news today in regards to anything in Eagles land or Chiefs land. Really, the only thing was Kellen Moore looking like he is the leader for the New Orleans Saints job. Not that that's not a big deal, it is, but it's been on the quieter front compared to maybe reaction to the NFC Championship game and continuing that reaction for about 48 hours afterwards. And look, I'll say a few thoughts about that, and then I want to make this show about you. So we'll rock a lot of your phone calls because normally I'll speak for 20 to 25 minutes and then sneak in a few, whereas we'll definitely run through a lot more of your calls in this one. Dating back to 2016, the only time you were able to get back-to-back offensive coordinators for Jalen Hurts was Shane Steichen, and you saw what happened in 2022 when that was the case, and it was even kind of with an asterisk next to it because with 2021, Nick Sirianni handed off the play calling midway through, but you know, how much was Shane Steichen's beliefs already incorporated? How much of that was Nick giving Shane what to run? And he was just calling and pushing the buttons, but it was Nick's offense. Whereas the following year, maybe Shane had more say and more of his beliefs in there. You know what I mean? So it's murky. The only time we can even look at a back-to-back same offensive coordinator for our quarterback, there's still a gray area involved. It's a big loss if we lose Kellen Moore down the road. I just don't know what to do with that right now because I'm so wired to focus on this game and I want the Super Bowl more than I like to breathe. So knowing my eyes are set on one goal right now, I'll worry about what if later. I don't think Kellen Moore is going to have a Jonathan Gannon moment where Gannon is a loser, Gannon bad guy, Gannon not really focused on the Super Bowl the way he needed to. Kellen Moore doesn't strike me as the one that is going to be so dialed in to New Orleans that he just throws away whatever's going on here in the trash. He is bought into the Nick Sirianni culture. He is bought into the family. He is bought into the togetherness, and he's going to treat the next 2 weeks with such a mindset, with that mindset. And look, big picture, do I like how the NFL has its structure? Of course not. No, but there's nothing I can do about it. And this is the nature of the beast when you are a great team. There are others who fire their coaches because they had such a terrible season, and they are looking to pluck from the squads that are good. So generally speaking, if you are in an NFC championship game, if you're in an AFC championship game, if you're in the Super Bowl, teams are looking at your coaching staff throughout that time, and you have to deal with it. And I don't think by the end of this, we are going to take away, all right, well, we lost, and it all came down to Kellen Moore is a bum, and he didn't truly focus. I mean, I don't think that's where this goes, okay? So I just want to set the record straight. I don't like the rules. These are the rules. You have to deal with the rules, and it's hard for me to even emotionally get into Kellen Moore leaving next season potentially because there's still a goal in the 2024-2025 season. I'm still going through this year. It's funny. I got hit, as you all know, I do some things with Bleacher Report, and I got hit to do something that is looking at the draft, right? And every team is putting together a 60-second thing about what they need to look for in the draft. And I'm going, draft? Draft? I got a season still ahead of me here. I got a Super Bowl to go win. So all these other teams are thinking, we need to fix this hole in our roster. This needs to be improved. We need to look at how we can clean up this. And I'm going, how are we going to beat Andy Reid? How is Jalen going to ball out? And to Jalen's credit, the fact that dating back to 2016, almost 10 years of wonkiness with the offensive coordinator position, it's pretty bizarre to call him a manager. If you can have that much success with so much moving around you, right? There's truth to if you have so many different voices, so many different game plans, so many different strategies around you, and it's new every year and you're still having success, yeah, there might be some good coordinators around you too, but that means the product that you're getting from the quarterback is super consistent as well, and he's playing a role in the success. So what I don't want to do is downplay, even though it sucks that Jalen has to experience that, and it would be awesome if he could have 4 or 5 years in a row with the same dude. Who knows what the ceiling would be if that's the case. It actually tells a bigger story about the greatness and the uniqueness of Jalen Hurts. Yes, very coachable. Yes, willing to do whatever he is told to do, and it's about wins and running the offense that he's currently in the best way he can to win, and win. So if he has to do something different in a Bill O'Brien offense, or if he's got to do something different in a Shane Steichen offense, and he's got to do something different in a Doug Peterson offense, and he's got to do something different in a Kellen Moore offense, and they're all totally different beliefs and concepts, let's go win some fucking football games. And that's all he does. So it's hard to have his consistent winning with so much moving around him when it comes to the structure of an offense. The fact that you can plug and play with so many different OCs around him says a lot. It really does. But yes, it's hard for me to fully invest in, all right, what does this mean for the Eagles with Kellen Moore? There will be a day for me to bite into it whenever the season ends and all that, yada, yada, yada. Hopefully it's after a beautiful parade and getting shit-faced for 7 straight days of partying down Broad Street. And then from there, 7 days. That's the warm-up, baby. That's just the pregame. It would be 3-4 months of just shotgun and vodka. So it's going to be phenomenal. But we'll worry about that later on. All right, to your calls. First, though, my friends at DraftKings, they're the best in the world. And this ain't the little itty-bitty, teeny-tiny bowl, okay? This is the Super Bowl 59. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi trophy. And you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Brodes. That's code Brodes for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boudreaux Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. All right. To you we go. Let's see. How do I want to do this? I have a whole folder with a bunch of voicemail set up. All right. Popping it up. Bing, bang, boom. All right. Here we go. Nope. Yep.
All right. Well, Brodes, this is Chris from Bucks County. I've been looking into basically a lot of Steve Spagnuolo and his defense, what he likes cooking up. I think there's been a couple big keys that I've been seeing for how the Eagles should run their offense against Spag. So from what I'm seeing, he's great at dialing up different blitz packages and disguises on 3rd and long specifically. So in order to beat him, we got to beat them to the sticks and avoid 3rd and long. And I noticed the Chiefs give up the most yardage and the most scores when teams can convert on 3rd and short and avoid 3rd and longs altogether throughout their drives. And against like Derrick Henry, I saw that they trusted Trent McDuffie on an island with Zay Flowers so they could sell out, stop the dominant force that is Derrick Henry. So I'm assuming they're going to run with similar protection against Saquon. So, but there, I honestly think that Spags will be crafting his own mismatch there because I think he's going to trust Trent McDuffie on an island with AJ. And from what I'm seeing, McDuffie's a stud corner, but he's a smaller nickel guy who's now being tasked with playing outside and doing a great job. But I don't really care about the McDuffie hype. I think AJ's athleticism and size will bully him one-on-one, so I think that's a key matchup. But the end of the day, matchup this, matchup that, our dominant O-line and Saquon Barkley are matchup-proof, and we will run all over the Chiefs. Grab Taylor Swift, chuck her off the Ben Franklin, 38-23 Birds.
I appreciate the call. Did not expect that at the end. I haven't gotten into, if I'm just being open with you all, I haven't gotten into the thick of the X's and O's because I figured that would be a next week thing or a back end of this week thing. There's just so much time, so I didn't want to dive full head first into it, and then you end up having nothing towards the back end. There is a sort of a path you have to take when it comes to talking about daily shows with this team leading up to a Super Bowl that's 2 weeks away after an NFC Championship game. But I'll tell you what, if they ever plan on keeping A.J. Brown with a one-on-one matchup, you're going to watch Jalen Hurts throw dimes all day long. You're going to watch A.J. Brown moss defenders. You're going to see some electric toe tapping. You're going to watch a passing game that makes you foam out your mouth with excitement. It's going to be that much joy in your body, okay? Because things are going to start sticking up. I'm telling you, if you have a situation where A.J. Brown has favorable matchups, because let's be honest, Spags, and Spags is no joke. Spags is legit. One thing I do expect from Spags is he's probably going to catch you, I don't want to say catch you off guard, but he is willing to buck trends. He's willing to do something that you never saw coming. He's willing to pull something out of his rear end that you can watch tape for over and over again, and you'll never see this coming because it wasn't even available for you, right? There might be something that he does on a crucial third down, and maybe it is third and long, and you just smack yourself in the eye. How am I supposed to see that one coming? So Spags is serious. He is really, really good. I don't think you can stop Saquon. And if Spags is going to do everything in his power to stop the run, which you need to do to have any sort of chance, then there are going to be so many vulnerable areas that Jalen Hurts and this passing game with Kellen Moore can attack. And there is part of me that laughed at this take throughout the regular season, but maybe there's something to it. Is it possible that Kellen Moore saved a lot of stuff for this time of the year? Because I just saw Kellen Moore's fantastic day. He had a day where I went, wow, there's finally some creativity and there's ways to do things that we haven't seen all year, whether it's Dallas Goedert, whether it's getting the football to Devontae Smith. They were doing things that were unique. Is it possible that we see something from Kellen Moore again where there is just so much green grass and there's so much available and you can do a lot with some of these skill position players where it's not just a traditional throw and he's been waiting to cook. He's been waiting to dip into his bag for this time of the year when you're facing a Spags defense that is extremely tough. I guess I can't rule it out. I don't think it's possible to stop Saquon, though. I really don't. Even if you try and put X amount of bodies in an area to stop him, sometimes I think that only makes Saquon Barkley hungrier. Because if he breaks free, then he knows it's a home run. Now, if you don't stack the box and he breaks free, he knows it's a home run too, and that's why he's so magnificent. But if there's so many guys playing tight to the line of scrimmage and they're swarming some of their defensive line, just knowing, right? They're right behind their D line and we're going to stuff gaps and we're going to be sound in our and all that stuff. And then Saquon Barkley just has a step on him and he's able to cut to his left and then bang, there's just so much green in front of him, then you're good. You're good to go. So Saquon knows that when the football is in his hands. And that's something that I expect to see. A 60-yarder to the house, a 50-yarder to the house. He does it nonstop. He does it every single week. And I've seen a hungry Saquon all year, a motivated Saquon, a Saquon who had a purpose to make a statement to the New York Giants front office, to everybody around football. And now that they're one game away, he's going to be even hungrier than we've ever seen. Imagine if you watch, I'm saying prime LeBron James, right? Prime LeBron James with Miami, prime LeBron James with the Cleveland Cavaliers when he was constantly going up the Golden State Warriors. He was possessed when he's in an Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics team. Or he is possessed when he's in a huge matchup against any other squad that's in the Eastern Conference Finals. But then you're faced up against Steph Curry. Then you're faced up against KD. Then you're faced up against Klay Thompson. And you're down in the series. And you're fighting back. We thought we saw a determined LeBron James the series before. Yeah, you woke up a different beast now. Then he goes into a mode that isn't even really describable and makes zero sense. We're about to watch Saquon Barkley do the same exact thing in this game against Andy. I really believe that. All right, let's go to our next caller.
For all the crap that defensive coordinator talked, about when to hit Jalen Hurts, I don't even know his name. Why should I? They sure hit him all right? Frankie Louvu on the tush push in the end at the goal line. Didn't push him back though. They're just toying with him there. Toying. You had the referee stopping the game to let the defense know that if they did it again, they had the ability to award the Eagles a touchdown. 55 points on his head. Yeah, you had Will Shipley at the end of the game running through that defense like he's Saquon fucking Barkley. How about that? It just feels like yesterday. 2 years ago, when we were getting ready, gearing up for the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, getting ready to go play the Kansas City Chiefs, analyzing the game, breaking it down over the next 2 weeks. And I'm looking forward to it as well. We could very well be playing the Chiefs again. I know they took that one, but this team has a different identity. They don't, the last team was primarily a passing team. This team showed they can do it. They're a running team, but they can do it in the air too. And I thought, they made the clutch plays tonight when they needed to make them. Go Birds. I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate the call. Yeah, so just to give you a heads up, these calls are all from Sunday night and through here on Wednesday night. So the timelines are a little all over the place. That was obviously before we even got to know who our matchup was. And this team does do it all. They really do. They have an offensive passing game that when it is needed, you've clearly seen it been delivered multiple times now. So last game, in the NFC Championship game, it came alive. Against the Pittsburgh Steelers, when Mike Tomlin figured something out to force Jalen to throw, he was a master. He was gross. He was so good. It's unbelievable. There was a second half against the Bengals. That first game in Brazil, there were some beautiful throws against the Green Bay Packers. So the whole narrative that Jalen Hurts and this offense can't do it, it's just not true. Now, were there times throughout the regular season where we were waiting for more, where we were waiting for something else? Yes. Yes, I do believe it's fair to say they didn't necessarily live up to their expectations week to week in the passing game throughout, but Saquon has become such a force that now you lean on your run game, you lean on your run game, you lean on your run game. And it is one of the best running games in NFL history. And if somehow a team does something where they limit the run game, but it takes away from their passing defense, Jalen is so capable of torching that. And that's all that matters. Because if teams don't do that, then you just keep handing it off. And you keep milking drives. And you got 7-minute, 8-minute drives. And you're watching this offense go. So they can pass the ball when needed. They can run the ball when needed. And when not needed, they could still run the ball. That's how deadly Saquon is. Their offensive line is disgustingly good. And their defense takes the ball away nonstop. How many times do you see one of their corners wrap a guy up, and then there's 3 guys running full speed to get to the gang tackle and pop the football loose? They're going to get 2 turnovers in this game against Kansas City. And knowing the way Jalen has operated very smoothly without turning the rock over himself, I don't think Jalen's going to do it. I don't think Jalen's going to do it, especially knowing that that was the talk of town after the last time these 2 teams played each other in the Super Bowl. So it comes down to AJ, Devontae, Saquon, them not letting the quarterback down. But I don't think that this team is going to. They don't. It's been who they are forever. If they are going to be that determined, the way that they just went out there and put 55 on the Commanders, the way they're entering this game with the determination and the desire, there's going to be such an emphasis on not doing it that I don't see a world where they do. But I'll tell you what they will do. They'll force the Kansas City Chiefs to turn it over. They'll get to Travis Kelce. They'll get to Xavier Worthy. They'll get to anybody who's got the rock. It doesn't even matter. They'll figure it out on special teams on a kickoff. They'll figure it out on a punt. They find ways. So special teams unit 2. What we need, though, we need a Jake Elliott. And if you have a 52-yarder that gets you 3 points in a 7-7 game, let me walk you through this scenario. It's 7-7. You can settle for a 52-yarder, and, it's 4th and 7, let's say 4th and 8. So it's a pretty aggressive go-for-it spot. And you can put up 3 points after your drive, maybe starts at your own 5, and you're able to move pretty well downfield, but then eventually the drive stalls, and now you have to make a decision. In this game, if you can't rely on a 52-yarder, that's so disappointing. Now, part of me knows that Nick Sirianni has to manage what he is handed, and if Jake Elliott is a no-go, and there's plenty of tape to know that he stinks right now from above 50 yards or from past 50 yards, then is it on the coach to adapt mid-game and not trust his guy with the season and the Super Bowl on the line? I guess so. I'm just saying that's a lot of points to give up on. If there's 2 field goals in the game from 50 plus that you decide to punt, maybe it works out in your favor because your defense is that strong, and then you can force them to go 3 and out and you play the field position game where they get 1 first down. But that's dangerous to play with that type of fire with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. So it's just something to think about. Something to think about.
Hey, Brodes, it's Dave. Just an incredible time to be alive here in Philadelphia. I mean, living downtown, walking around, everyone wearing green every day. It's just awesome. Not to rehash, old wounds here, but I'm sure you gave your take on it at the time. All these clips are coming back up of the worst holding call of all time, the most ticky-tack. And some people are saying, like, oh, he owned up to it in the locker room afterwards, so clearly it was a good call. Personally, I think that's garbage. Like, what type of a teammate are you if you're not owning up to the call that essentially lost the Super Bowl? Wanted to hear your take on that, though, not to rehash old stuff. Love the show.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. So that is in reference to James Bradbury and the issue that happened the last 2 times. Why do I always say that? The last time these 2 teams met. And I'm kind of in this mindset with it. I don't care. It happened. It's done with. We need to focus at the task at hand. Deep down, I thought whoever had possession last was going to win that game. And if that wasn't called, Jalen Hurts was going to be money with the game on the line and have an iconic drive. He's going to have the moment drive because that's just the way that game was going. He had a big answer, a big response, a huge drive, and he seemed to deliver every single time he needed to in that game. If he was going to get the football, the way the mojo was rolling and the way the momentum was happening for that offense, I thought, no doubt about it, there was something to the special Jalen Hurts day on the in the Super Bowl the last time. But in regards to my mindset now and my way of thinking now, dating back to that old matchup, I don't want that to really marinate at all for the group and even for us as fans. There's nothing we can do about it. Now, maybe you can feel robbed, and can you use that as motivation? I don't know. Let's put ourselves in Nick Sirianni's shoes. He's going to do a great job and an incredible job of inspiring the locker room and trying to fire them up as much as possible. If you're the head coach, is that the route you go? Is the route you go, let's bring up that James Bradbury hold, or do you go a completely different way? Now, I think you can use Super Bowl 57 and the sour taste in your mouth and Jalen leaving the field. I think it's more about what surrounded that play more than that play. Right? You dig into Jalen walking off the field with the confetti. You go back to that feeling of when you turned it over. You go back to that feeling of punting the football on 4th and 3. You go back to that pain of a week afterwards when it's hitting you and it's reality that we lost the Super Bowl. It's so hard to get there. That was such an epic game. We had our chance, and unfortunately, we didn't close the deal that week after where you are depressed, right? I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes is you are depressed because you were right there. You could taste it. It's all you ever dream about. So I think you probably go with that method where you bite into 57, but you don't specifically use that play. Because that's something that's uncontrollable. You can't control the refs. You can't control what they do. And I know that's going to be a massive talking point with all the calls that gets favored in the direction of Pat Mahomes. So, yes, as we gear up for next week, we are going to have to discuss Josh Sweat getting to the quarterback, and instead of hitting him, you may have to lay off, all right? Instead of putting your body weight on him, if you're Jalen Carter, you don't hit him as hard because for some reason he gets the softest calls ever in the history of football called on him. And then from there, I'm saying Pat Mahomes, whenever somebody hits him and it's him specifically, then yes, there's a flag whenever he gets hit softly. So you got to find a way to sort of limit that the best way you can and control it the best way you can. Let's focus on the controllables in this game, and if we do that, then we'll have the outcome we're looking for. Does that make sense? So I want to put it away and focus on the now, but use 57 as a motivator. I think that's a definite. You get a rematch against that team again. I know for Jalen's mindset, that's probably the best thing we can have for the way that he's wired, for the way that he attacks, for the way that he goes about his business, knowing it's Andy again, Pat Mahomes again. Yeah, there's definitely fire, real fire brewing. Let me tell you about HelloFresh before we continue with some calls here. What's HelloFresh? Well, it's when you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. So skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. A crazy schedule can make it easy to fall back into your dinner time recipe rut. So keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every week. So there's always something delicious to discover with HelloFresh. We all know HelloFresh takes the hassle out of mealtime, but did you know it can also save you money? HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout, so that means you get easy home-cooked meals on the table and even more money back in your pocket. HelloFresh does all the shopping and meal planning for you, and ingredients arrive right at your door. It's pre-portioned and ready to cook, along with step-by-step recipe cards. It doesn't get any easier than that. So go to HelloFresh.com/50Brodes and use code 50Brodes for 50% off plus free shipping. That's code 50Brodes for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. All right, back to the phones. Let's do it.
What's up, Brodes? It's 12:30 here, and I got work at like 5, but I can't sleep. And all I'm doing is thinking about, one, the fact that yes, the Chiefs are great. I'm not very, very worried, but God damn will I not let them three-peat with 2 out of 3 wins being against us. That's not something a lot of people are talking about. And I feel like it's because they know. I'm excited. Can't wait for February 9th. Go Birds.
That would be brutal. And with Andy Reid and the connection, right? If it was any other coach but Andy Reid, it would still suck, but it's Andy Reid. So now Andy Reid does it to this organization. That would be brutal for sure. And yeah, it's hard to kind of look at this because part of me goes, I know this isn't football, right? And I'm a big believer in is if you don't rely on the strategy of why you can win, then there's probably a reason to believe that you're not as good as the other team. And what I mean is when Green Bay was trying to convince themselves they were going to come in here and win against the Eagles, a lot of it had nothing to do with football. Anything could happen on Sunday. Well, okay. So your team sucks compared to ours. That's what it comes down to. Well, part of me wonders because winning 3 in a row is unheard of. Is there a reason why it's unheard of? And because of how difficult it is, maybe that's advantage Burt's. But that's not really football. And that leads right into my normal thought process, which would say, yo, Brodes, that means And I feel the Eagles on paper and roster-wise, they do have more talent than Kansas City. It's just a threat of they find ways to win even more than you do. And you do at a high clip, and you do at a special clip. And that's something that's very unique with Jalen and his ability to lead a football team is they are so good at getting whatever is needed and necessary on that given day. You're just facing a team that also does that. But I feel good about this group because there is that extra mean mugging going on because it is the Chiefs. Because Andy Reid already beat you. And I know for a fact, I'm not just speaking from the locker room level, because I do think from a locker room level, Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, taking down that dynasty, it holds a lot of weight. And it does matter that you beat that team. Now that this is the matchup, if it was the Bills or the Ravens, no, I don't really give a damn who you beat. The Phillies beat the Tampa Bay Rays in 2008. I don't give a damn if it was the Tampa Bay Rays, the Boston Celtics, or anybody else. I want that World Series. So I don't care who it is. But now that it is lined up this way and you start to mentally prepare to attack, the fact that you know it's this squad, I think there's a lot of juice to that if you're in that locker room. And then for us, the fans, with Andy, it's personal. And I liked Andy. I wasn't a fire Andy guy. I know at times good things always come to an end. Maybe we see something similar with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh at some point where it doesn't mean Mike Tomlin's a bad coach anymore. It's just time for something new and something fresh. And obviously it was inevitably sort of trending in that direction with Andy. But I love Andy. And when Andy didn't have a Super Bowl yet, I was rooting for Andy to get one when he first got one with the Chiefs. But now it becomes real personal because you're right. If they win 3 in a row and he goes on historic runs where he is now in the category of the best coach ever, because that's what it's trending like, and he beats you twice after leaving, nah, dude, I can't have that. I cannot have that. Which reflects back to what I was saying in yesterday's show, why you got to win Super Bowl 59. Because they have been a part of this sustained success now for a while, the Eagles have, and only having one piece of hardware just isn't enough to describe how well they have put it together and how well they have drafted and how well they've had quarterback play, being in MVP combos over the last couple of years, right? Before the collapse last season, he was a part of that. Jalen was. Obviously, back in 2022, he was as well. So there's a lot of truth to that, and you need more hardware for it. And Andy Reid can't be the reason why it gets stopped. It just can't be. All right, we'll take one more call.
Hey, Brodes, what's going on? It's RD calling from DC again. Just finished the Tuesday podcast. I got to thank the Eagles for everything they did for me Sunday. I talk so much shit here in the office, and they just backed it up for me like I didn't even expect that type of ass whooping. Monday I was obnoxious, walked into the office with everything Eagles down head to toe, and was, offering to buy all the Commanders fans, 65-piece nugget with a side of mambo sauce. They didn't like that too much, but it is what it is. Now we just have to carry this momentum on to the Super Bowl.
I appreciate it, man. And look, that is the best, though. When you talk that smack and then it actually plays out the way. Listen, we give sports analysis, sports opinions. Unfortunately, we're not right every time. But damn it, when you're right, and when you're right about your team being great, and when you're right when you watch your team put up 55 and win in the NFC Championship game because no one could come here and win in January like that, there's something extra special about this, the pep in your step when you're walking into work and you start to talk that trash. You just walk in with a smile and everybody's waiting for you, right? Maybe you get a couple texts the night before. Don't you dare, right? You better watch out tomorrow, whatever. You walk in, the elevator doors open, everyone's watching, and you got the Kelly green on, you just smiling. Just smiling, looking at everybody. Hey, Bill, how was your night last night? Oh, that's awesome. All right, listen, before we get out of here, you know about my friends at Garage Beer, right? Do not forget, drinkgaragebeer.com. Don't worry about any IPAs. It's light beer. It's phenomenal. 0% IPA, 100% light beer, 1,000% quality. Whenever you go partying for the Super Bowl, make sure you drink one beer and one beer only. That's Garage Beer. Thank you all so much for kicking it. Subscribe, hit the like button. You can go to Apple Podcast and Spotify, search Brodes Media or Sports Talk with Brodes, and you can be taking me on the road with you. With you. Oh, with you? I don't know. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Talk to you on the next one. Go Birds!